Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. It's your Ak Chazamak, Ban Yasharala. It's been a while, but it always is a while. Because I try to make what I say count. Try to make my words count. So I could post every day, but I don't. It is what it is. Anyway, but because of that, I don't typically go back and watch my own videos. So if I start to hit the same subject a couple times, take it for what it's worth. It's just I speak what's on my heart, or what's on my mind, as the Spirit of the Most High moves me. So if I've touched on this before, it is what it is. But lately, what I've been thinking about is, just our roles as Hebrews, and how. And what we're supposed to be doing, what we're supposed to do. Because, you talk to some people, or you listen to some people, and this is my thinking, this is my thought. So this is, I'm just sharing my thoughts with you from a personal perspective. So this is in no way to be, taken as doctrine of any kind, or, hopefully it just edifies somebody, or encourages somebody. But these are just, some of my personal thoughts that I'm sharing, so we're clear. But there are times where, if I listen to a teaching or somebody talk, and it sometimes it comes across to me, or it makes it seem to me like if you're not doing some kind of ministry, quote unquote ministry work, that you're not doing anything. And that could come from, for me personally, it could come from having been in the Christian church for about 20 years. That's what they're on. You go and join a church, they want you to be involved in something, because that's how they deem, or that's how they determine, or define, a person's works, or what you're doing. You're giving back. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not even, I'm just talking. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, as I come into this truth, I believe that's one of the things that has stuck with me from Christianity that I deal with, because it is clear to me, because the word itself says that the whole duty of man is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments. So at the end of the day, at the base, at the foundation, that's really what we're supposed to be doing first, is fearing the Most High. So you got to find out what that means to fear the Most High. It ain't just, I'm going to say I'm afraid of the Most High, or I fear the Most High. It's not shown, it's not spoken in words, it's shown in actions. And keeping his commandments, which is one way you show him that you fear him, is by keeping his commandments to the best of your ability, with the knowledge that he's given you of those. For instance, Christians, Muslims, Israelites, and a lot of other, and Israelites were, this is our nation, so I don't mean to lump them in with other religions, but I'm just saying there are other groups of people that have belief systems. They all say lying is bad. You shouldn't lie. 10 Commandments, thou shalt not lie. So we agree on those. What I'm saying is, as the Most High shows you other things that maybe you didn't know that are in his word, as he shows them to you, then we should make the effort to change our thinking and line up with what his word says. For instance, again, since I came out of the Christian background, I'll speak from that vein. The Sabbath day. It is clear that the Sabbath day is the seventh day of the week. Now, you can argue with me and say, well, the days have been changed, the calendars have been changed. Okay, I don't agree with that. But even still, what's the seventh day right now? What's the seventh day right now? The seventh day is what we call Saturday. Personally, I believe that the days have never shifted. The numbered days have never changed. We have changed them, but the Most High never changed them. But Christianity has said, no, we're changing the Sabbath day from the seventh day to the first day. Well, when and if the Most High opens your eyes to show you that no, the Sabbath day has never changed, it has always been the seventh day, then the question becomes, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to only worship and rest on the first day and treat that as the Sabbath? Or are you going to realign your thinking and your and your actions with what the Word says? So that's what I did. It took me probably, I want to say maybe 2 months. When he showed me that the Sabbath day never changed, and in fact, by being a part of Sunday worship only, because you can worship every day, absolutely, but I was only worshiping and resting on Sundays for the most part, and even towards the end of that tenure, as the Most High was doing a change in me, I wasn't really even resting on Sundays either, if I'm being honest. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. So I was basically resting no days. But once he showed me the rest day was the seventh day, it took about 2 months. I was still, because I was active in church, I was playing drums, so I was still doing that. But every Sunday I played, it got harder and harder. It's like, man, I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is not where I'm supposed to be. That's not nothing. That's something. And so what I'm saying is, if you're somebody that likes to listen to a lot of teachings, or in your search you're coming across a lot of teachings, don't let the enemy fool you into thinking that if you're not studying 3 hours a day, if you're not making videos trying to teach people stuff, if you're not making music, if you're not putting yourself out there or being very vocal or on the forefront in social media or whatever it is, that you're not doing anything. That's not true. Keeping the commandments is something, and it's something that the Most High takes very seriously, actually. How we show our love and fear for Him, and then how we love our neighbors, our fellow Israelites, Hebrews. And on the first level, Hebrews in general. We should love our brothers and sisters in general, first off. But at a deeper level, anyone who attaches themselves to Israel by keeping our laws and commandments, faith in the Messiah, turning away from their traditions of their ancestors, just like in the days of old, they were considered Israel. Nothing's changed today. And that's why you can have other people of other nations that have clung to Israel, that recognize the Most High for who He is, recognize the Israelites, the children of Israel, for who we are, and adhere to the laws, statutes, and commandments that were given us. Because we were given it, and we were supposed to give it to the rest of the world, is what was supposed to happen. Keeping the commandments is something. A lot of people don't want to do it. They'll do the ones that are easy for them. If you're naturally an honest person, you don't lie a whole lot. I mean, we all are gonna lie from time to time. Let's just be honest about it. But you're not just like somebody just giving the lies. You're just always lying, always trying to make it seem like you got more than you have, or being deceptive in some way or another. Okay, that's easy. What about you're not a liar, but you love your ham hocks? What about that? Or your ham sandwiches? What about that? When He shows you that we're not supposed to eat pork, or when He shows you we're not supposed to eat anything that comes out of the waters that does not have fins and scales, well, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to say, well, I don't care about those, or that's going too far? Or are you going to say, well, it says what it says, and even though I really loved scallops and shrimp or whatever you might have liked, quite honestly, I was never a big ham family, unless it was Christmas, which these pagan holidays, that's a whole nother thing. But when He shows you, when He opens your eyes to, the Word says, to be a set-apart person or set-apart people, you are to live like this or not live like this. You are to do this or not do that. What is your response? Because that is doing something. That matters. And this whole thing comes to my mind because after I gave my life to Christ, as in the Christian sense of the word. But I was honestly trying to live my life for the Lord. I was honestly, I turned away from running on the streets and doing what I was doing, chasing women and all this. I didn't do that. I turned away from those things, and I tried to do what I thought was right. I tried to live righteously as I thought it was right. Well, didn't think that I'd be a preacher, or wasn't thinking about I'm gonna be a preacher. I was just trying to be a sincere Christian, as it was. I remember one day at a function, we're doing something in the neighborhood, outreach thing in the neighborhood, music and food and stuff or whatever, and listening to the preacher preach. He wasn't preaching on I don't remember what he was preaching on, quite honestly. I just remember that was the day that I got my first message. The first time the Most High showed me something in His Word that didn't come from another man. The first time He illuminated and He gave me wisdom of something. And what it was Paul's conversion, or Saul's conversion. And He didn't focus on Paul. Who He focused on was Ananias, the dude that He used to minister to Paul. And how he's only mentioned twice in the Bible. Once when you read about the conversion, or when you read about the experience Paul had, and then the second time when Paul is reciting or telling that story. It's only 2 times you hear about him. But what you do hear about this guy Ananias is that he was devout, and that he was well known in his neighborhood, basically, or in his city, for being a devout man, a man that kept the commandments. Probably worked a regular job. I'm gonna assume he had family, but I don't know that. The point that was really made to me was this guy wasn't popular. He wasn't famous as we might say today. I mean, everybody's known by somebody. So you can say, well, it says he was known. He was well known. Well, everybody's known by somebody. We all have, circles of friends and influences or acquaintances at the very least. People know us. People know me. That doesn't make me famous. But what it does do is, for those that know me, right? Those that know you, those that watch your life or look at your life, then the question becomes, what do they see? Do they see a person that is only talking the talk? Or do they see somebody that actually walks the walk? Because Ananias walked the walk. That's why the Most High was able to use him. He was an obedient person, because the Most High, when He sent His messenger and He said, hey, I'm sending you to Saul, he's on his way, or he's over here at this house, he's blind, and I showed him you coming and laying your hands on him and healing him, and I got work for him to do. Ananias' first response was, are you serious? He came with letters to kill and imprison people like me. That was his first response. He was afraid. He was like, seriously? The Most High said, no, listen. I'm going to show him what he's going to suffer for my sake, but this is your task. This is what you need to do. Obedience is key. And I know I've talked about that in several videos. Because, again, the foundation has to be right. It has to be solid. It has to be the rock that we're building on. And the rock is the Word. And if we're not building on the rock, then when times of trouble come, we're not going to make it. We're not going to endure. We have to be building on the rock. So day after day, we're keeping, I shouldn't say just, but day after day, when we are keeping commandments to the best of our ability, day after day, we're spending time with the Father through prayer and reading. Day after day, we're choosing not to eat the things we're not supposed to, or we're choosing to not to indulge in conversations that are not righteous to the best of our ability. I mean, I work in a secular place. I can't avoid every single thing, but I don't have to be involved either. I mean, I can just sit quietly by and you know, and I can't combat every single thing all the time. Neither can you. We got a job to do. I was hired to do a job. My thing is to do the job, right? My thing is to be the best employee that I can be, as an example and as a witness, because to show the Most High that I appreciate this job that you gave me. I'm not finna walk in this job feeling entitled because my Father is the God who made heaven and earth. I know who He is, but that don't mean I just walk into every old job and feel entitled. Not in this earth. Not in this country. This is captivity for us. So I show Him appreciation by being a good steward of that job, doing the best that I can do in that job. And when given opportunity to speak to someone's life or to let them know who I am, I don't shy away from it. But I don't bring my soapbox to work. I used to when I was a Christian, when I didn't have understanding, when I didn't realize and didn't know that my life spoke much louder than my words ever could. But now that I know, guess what my response is? Let my life speak. And that's what I do. How I treat people, regardless of their nationality. So you talking about Esau, Ammon, or how, you want to use all the old names. So, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. Israelite or not, Israelite or Gentile, Jew or Gentile, it don't matter to me. Because at the end of the day, they all have the breath of life in them, and that was given by the Most High. So I treat everybody with respect. I treat everybody with respect. Not for their sake, but for the Most High's sake, for so that His name is not taken in vain by me. So His name is not blasphemed. And people say he calls himself an Israelite, or he says he's this Torah believing, or he follows the laws, but look how he treats people. I believe that matters to the Father. That's His creation. I don't treat His creation any old kind of way. I was reading in Proverbs today, Proverbs 12, and it said, the righteous man regardeth the life of his beast. A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast. So even your pets you care about, and we're not going to treat people with any kind of respect or not realizing who put the breath in their lungs. To me, that's a dangerous place to be. That's doing something. That's not doing nothing. And that's the point of this video, is to encourage you to stay on the path. Just because you're not, most of us are not well known. Most of us are not famous. Most of us are not going to be well known. That's not the point. We're not supposed to be. Not individually, collectively, as a nation, we're supposed to be well known. We're supposed to be the light of the world as a nation. So the more of us that can just live this way, that can simply live this way, then a person that does not live this way, oh, I seen that person, they're an Israelite. I seen that person, they're Israelite. And it's not that just because we're of the same bloodline, but because of the way we live, because we adhere to the law, statutes, and commandments, to the knowledge that we're given by the Most High. Think about this. There's a law that you might not even know of that says if somebody does work for you, you're supposed to pay them that day. If a brother or a sister works for you, so this whole system of getting paid every week or every 2 weeks, or you're supposed to get paid at the end of that day. That's how our nation worked. You worked for a day, you got paid that day. Imagine what our lives would be like if the system worked like that. We worked for a day, we got paid that day. That's how our nation worked. That's a law. Now again, we are in captivity, and the way that the system works, that the captivity that we're in, it would make it very difficult to keep that law. I get that. But if you're paying somebody cash, or it's just a job, a personal one-time job or whatever, it should not be, oh, do this job for me, and then when I get paid, a week from today, I'll pay you. No, you're supposed to have the money ready. You come do this work for me, and when you're done and the job is done, here's your money, here's your pay. That's righteous in the Most High's eyes. And there are plenty of other laws I know that the Muslims actually follow law that is our law, in that when they give one another a loan, like if they have a bank in the banking system, they get a house loan, they're not charged any interest on that loan. None. And the Bible used to call that usury, or it calls it usury. That's interest. So a law that we used to observe was when we would borrow somebody money, if they had need and we would borrow them money, if it was a brother or a sister, meaning it was a fellow Israelite, we were supposed to do that without interest, without usury. That was a law or a statute, or however you want to determine it. But that was something we used to do for one another. If I borrowed you $100 and you agreed to pay me back, in 2 months, when you could pay me back the $100, or however long it took you to save it up or get it back, I wasn't supposed to come back with, well, I'll give you 100, but I need 120 back. That's what this system does. It's called interest. And they try to make it seem like they're doing you a favor by saying all interest rates are as low as ever. 3.999 APR financing. That's the system we live in. But that's not the way our nation used to operate. So you see, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can't do in this system that we'll get back to when we have our own land and we become where we're put together again as a nation by the Messiah. But the point that I'm making is keeping the commandments is not doing nothing. That's doing something. And being the light that we're supposed to be through our actions, through our words, even through our thoughts, that's doing something. That's not doing nothing. But the enemy will try to get you to think, or try to get you to feel like or believe that because you're not doing what the next person's doing, that if that's not your mandate, that's not what the Most High told you to do, then don't do it. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be keeping the commandments. The whole duty of man, fear the Most High, keep his commandments. Think about this. There are people that are doing that, making videos or teaching or preaching or trying to do those things that are not supposed to be. You ever think about that? But we have been so Hellenized and so Christianized that we believe that because somebody might have the ability to speak in front of people without fear and can articulate thoughts and words, that means they're supposed to try to do it on the grandest scale ever. That doesn't mean that at all. You got to take that to the Most High to find out what he wants you to do with that. Now, he may elevate you and put you on the grand scale, or and give you a broad audience. All praise to the Most High if that's what he chooses to do. But if that ain't what he chooses to do, the name of the game is obedience. The name of the game is obedience. And most of my videos always boil down to that. So I'll stop there before I get on that again. But just know, keeping the commandments is not doing nothing. That's doing something. So be encouraged. Remain steadfast. Keep the commandments. Fear the Most High. And keep reading and keep studying, spending time with the Father, and let him show you what he wants to show you. And when he shows you something that you didn't know, something new, then start working in that area. Start working on that. Get to the place where it's just the way you live. It's your lifestyle to keep that commandment, to keep that statute, to think that way. Have a great day, Israel. Shalom.